and be equal. This is OMD. This is the Corner Store Podcast, episode 107. Thank you for being here today. I definitely appreciate your time. I appreciate your efforts in checking out my podcast. I really, really thank you. For all those who might check me out today and you check out the live, please do me the biggest favor and go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification button, and also please kind of engage with the pod, especially about subjects that we talk about. It helps me out a lot. The algorithm will notice it, and they will effectively give me my shine for it. Once again, thank you again for coming to the Corner Store Podcast. And this is episode 107. It's your boy OMG. Yo, it's a lot to talk about going on out there in the world today. We're on the brink of World War III. And I'm not here to scare nobody. The news is out there. I don't know, a lot of people be so busy in their lives, taking care of their kids, going to work, paying these damn bills, that you don't really know what's going on in the world. So I'm here to pick those pieces up for you. I'm busy as hell as well, but I do have a chance to sit and soak in what the hell's going on out there. We're on the brink of World War III. This particular young man who's like I guess you could say he's popular. He's obviously got way more followers than I do, and he's also doing his thing. Young, chubby, chipmunk-faced gentleman named named DJ Akademiks out on the East Coast. He was just served. Well, for those who may not know who DJ Akademiks is, if you're watching my show, DJ Akademiks is a young man who's into the hip hop scene. He's also a live streamer, a DJ supposedly, and you know he's in the pockets of certain hip hop artists like Drake and some other artists I won't name, since Drake is probably the biggest one that he seems to not only follow but worship. But he was hit with a lawsuit today, a defamation lawsuit, and there's a possibility there may be a criminal investigation into him and some of his friends for SAing, sexually assaulting. So it's a lot of that going on. I mean, you already know about Diddy. You already know about Drake's the accusations made by Kendrick Lamar during their rap, back and forth. But now a guy who I believe nobody believes to be under any scrutiny by the law at all, but now a gentleman who I kind of don't really mind seeing him being pressed by the feds or anything, because he got a big mouth and he's one of those dudes that'll talk tough, but as soon as you threaten him, he's calling the police. He's being investigated by said authorities. With that said, let's go to my source and hear about some of the things that's going on with Akademiks, and this is a little bit of what's happening.
Who claims that she was SA.
Oh, wait a minute.
Information from the Rolling Stone article. This lawsuit was just filed recently, but happened in July 16th of 2022. In which she actually originally met him in 2021, so she had known him for a year prior. According to her from the lawsuit, she said she was invited to his New Jersey house, she was drugged, which impacted her memory and caused her to lose consciousness. She claimed she woke up around 4 a.m. in which she was being essayed by Akademiks at that time. Absolutely horrible. She claims through the lawsuit that she was saying no over and over again, begging, and he was still deciding to assault her. Also involved were two other men who were there at the house as well. Now, a super important part of this lawsuit, apparently the woman claimed that Akademiks told her that she should get tested and he would get tested. Now, what makes that interesting is she claims that he says they never even engaged in intercourse. So the fact that he was asking for her to get tested and himself to get tested means he's admitting they had intercourse, in which she never consented to. So,
wow.
Oh my God, this is horrible. I will update you guys with all the information. I assume this lawsuit, in case will take a long time to play out. It was just filed, so there's going to be a lot of information. I assume we'll get a stream from Akademiks today in which he'll talk about all this because it just came out through a massive article in Rolling Stone and it's being talked about everywhere. DJ Akademiks is...
As you can see, that's a live streamer as well, news reporter. I don't know the young man's name. I can't see it right here, but as he said and stated, it was reported by Rolling Stone magazine. Obviously, Rolling Stone magazine is a huge, reputable news source for not only music, but news as well. And it looks like this brother is not only going to be sued, he's going to be possibly indicted, if an indictment is even brought. But it sounds like it might actually happen for the simple fact that that's what it sounds like happened. It sounds like somebody got raped. The story that I heard from some other sources was that Akademiks told this young lady who he's been knowing now for at least a year or two, maybe even longer, to come over because they would have sex here and there, whatever, which is totally understandable. I mean, if there's a young guy out there, he's making money, he's doing what he's doing, and he has some female friends, he may not lock in on one girl, but he's, doing them or whatever, and they come by, that's pretty normal. But to have her come over, and there was supposedly a power outage that happened at his New Jersey home the night that she came over there, and the two gentlemen that she met, that one of them opened the door when she came and greeted her, she didn't know what was going on. She just thought they was kicking it or whatnot. Anyway, at the end of the day, there was a blackout at that New Jersey home, and she was scared and didn't really know what to do, but they gave her a drink. She passed out. She woke up, felt like she had got violated, and he even, like in the video you just heard, the gentleman said that DJ Akademiks told her she probably should get tested for an STD. And if you didn't know what happened and you feeling kind of weird, you would probably get scared knowing that these men had taken advantage of you. So with that said, as you can see, Hollywood, the entertainment business, whatever you want to call it, is tainted, it's corrupted, and it's full of sexual predators. Let's examine that for a second. When do you think people usually reach their sexual deviancy at whatever level they're living at. Meaning you ain't got to be rich to be a deviant. There's plenty of people in jail who was down on their luck, family members that were staying with their auntie or cousins or whoever, or friends, and these people had kids or young daughters or even young, male sons, nephews, and siblings, and these people will prey on them because they have no other recourse but to act in their nasty ass nature. Well, it seems to me that brings that out even further. You may not even act like that when you were poor, but once you find some semblance of success and money, all of a sudden your inhibitions even get bigger. As a lot of people have said and mentioned, that a lot of these guys, R. Kelly, Diddy, and whomever else might have these tendencies. When you get money like that, everybody's throwing themselves at you, men and women alike. You getting sex every which way but loose. So after a while, they say some of these dudes and dudettes, females, start to get bored with the act of just having sex with an opposite man, and they start doing all kind of other crazy shit. I don't know what else to say other than, if that's the case, you're all going to jail for all of these hidden desires and hidden weirdo-ness. You are. Just because, and a lot of people think because Epstein thought this. Epstein thought that because he had billions of dollars that he could hide his nasty nature. He thought this. He thought he could do that. But guess what, bro? You can't do it. You can't do it. People are going to find out. People are going to know, bro.
Currently being sued by...
People are going to know.
That she was SA'd by...
People are going to know. SA'd. You heard what he said. And that's the new tag now. SA obviously stands for sexual assault, but that's the little acronym for it. And let me tell you something right now. Your money ain't gonna hide you. The devil ain't gonna hide you. What you think, because you got this big house and you got this little basement or this little corner of the house behind locked doors and cameras all over the crib, that the cops ain't gonna never be able to invade that motherfucker looking for evidence, kicking in every door and going through every crevice of that crib. Unless you build a dungeon over in Eastern Europe somewhere like they did in the goddamn movie Hostel, where they can just pay people to do all these weird ass shit to people that happen to be traveling across the world or whatnot. Unless you're doing some shit like that, you're gonna get caught. And I'm not telling you to do no shit like that so you won't get caught. I'm just telling you, you need psychological help. You need to take your ass and spend some of that money on that. I was watching an interview with Vlad. I hate to talk about dude because I know he's full of crap, but he uses a lot of my people, brown and black people, to, get his money, so to speak. Well, I forget I'm trying to think of this man's name, and I see him all the time. Michael Jai White and his wife, who's absolutely gorgeous, very smart, very intelligent lady. He was on Vlad talking about how he was when he was younger coming up. Now he's been acting and doing martial action films, and he was Spawn. He's been doing it for years, and obviously he's in shape. No Diddy. He's a all right looking guy. So damn well, he's had his share of females, and he admitted as much. But he also admitted how much he was out there popping and doing too damn much. And admittedly, he said he would never have been no good to her as a husband once he didn't come to grips to those facts of who he was and the power that he had and the money and influence. And I'm in great shape, and I'm any brother. I'm tell you right now, a dude like Michael Jai White could go anywhere. And there's videos of this one cat. I think his name is Riz, and he's just going around this cat, just not capping, but just getting at all these really attractive young white blonde women, and they are eating it up. Look for his videos. He goes and hollers at them, and they always give their number. I'm telling you, half these girls got boyfriends or husbands. I mean, they're pretty young, so maybe not husbands, but because when he asks them their age, they're usually like 26 and younger. And they just tell me, y'all know who Michael Jai White is. If you don't, go look him up. Now, the guy's obviously getting up to the age where I'm at. I'm 57 years old. So after a while, you got to stop out there, gallivanting. As Eddie Murphy said back on Raw, throwing your dick on the crap table every night, because you're going to come up crapped out one night. You're gonna get AIDS, whatever the fuck is going on, or whatever the fucked up ass diseases of the day when it comes to sex, and your shit gonna fall off. It's that simple. But as far as these people like DJ Akademiks, who has power and think he has influence, this man has gone so far as to say, if a girl has a college ID, no matter what age she is, as long as she in college, you should be able to fuck her. That's coming from a dude that's out there looking for your daughter in the clubs. Watch your kids. Watch your teenagers. There's some predators out there, long-standing predators. You just didn't know nothing about them. And they out to get your child, corrupt them, and hand them a bunch of money thinking that's what they need to be looking at all the time instead of trying to be a great, productive person. Watch it. The next thing I want to really chop it up with y'all about is we on the brink of absolute world war. Now, if you're a biblical person, meaning if you read the Bible, depending on what Bible you read, King James Version of the Holy Bible, it's come to light that ain't exactly the greatest book to be used by anyone, let alone black people. Obviously, that book was used to suppress us and to keep us docile during 400 to almost 500 years of slavery in this country. So there's not a lot of credibility for the King James Version of the Bible for me. I know God is real. That's a huge thing. I know his son died for our sins. That's another huge thing. His name is Yao Mei, and his son's name is Yashia and not Jesus. That's a whole nother podcast we could talk about. That's a whole nother thing. But with that said, there is parts or passages in the Bible that speak of the time we're living in now. The time where the small Middle Eastern country would rise up and take on the world. Now, who would have thunk that would be Israel? A made-up country that's only been around since the 1940s or 1930s. No, hold on. It was after World War II, actually. So it had to be in the 60s or 50s when they actually kicked the Palestinians who had been there for centuries. Let me repeat that. The Palestinian people, the Arabs that were already there in Palestine, and that was modern day Palestine. Not modern day, I'm sorry. That was back then Palestine. Modern day Palestine is about that much. There's only that much of the land they've given these people. They pretty much take the whole rest of the pie from the Palestinian people. And to justify this, they said that in their Bible, in the Jewish Bible, in the Zionist Bible, that God willed that they have this land. It's in the Bible, they say, that they're supposed to have that specific area of land. And these people were persecuted by the Germans. And let me tell you something. I am not anti-Semitic, not in the least. Not in the least. Anybody that watches this that is a Jewish person, if your butt cheeks clench up and you get offended by what I'm saying, that's your problem. Because it's definitely not mine. I'm going on history. I'm going on what was told in the history books and what was said. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if President Truman was the one that signed off on the Palestine deal, but I know the UN was in agreement about it, the United Nations at the time. I don't know why they couldn't have found some other land for them. I don't know why they couldn't have did that. They could have bought it from the Palestinians. They could have gave them money, but instead they just plopped them right there and told them people, look, they're gonna every 10 years they're gonna move you closer and closer to not even being there. Now, what do you think is gonna start a war around? There's nothing but Arabs that surround that Jewish state of Israel. Nothing but Arab countries, from Syria to Iraq to Yemen. I mean, all of these are Arab and Muslim countries, and they're not going to sit there and let you annihilate those people. Now the Palestinians have to flee and go in all these different directions. Joe Biden did something the other day which was unprecedented by telling Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, we can't give you any more weapons, bro, until you guys come to some type of peace with the Palestinians. Now, that may sound like make people thinking that Joe Biden's such a great guy. No, after a while, you can't keep letting these people just kill these people. That's what you can't do. So let's hear about what's going on over there and how big this is getting, because it's actually getting pretty wild. And there's a couple of news stories about it, and here we go.
Huge breaking news. The United States has begun to launch airstrikes in Iraq and Syria against Iranian-backed militias following a fatal drone strike that recently killed 3 U.S. service members in Jordan. Iran continues to deny their involvement in the attacks, but the United States maintains that Iran was involved and should be held accountable. The United States has stopped short of directly attacking Iran because that would likely spark a much broader conflict, but this is seen as a huge expansion of hostilities in the region, and the next steps are unclear. This is a developing story. Huge breaking news.
That's one story about it. Let's go to the next one.
Breaking news, U.S. officials.
This story was told by ABC News, and this is pretty much telling exactly what's going on. And the heading on the title of the story is U.S. launches retaliatory strikes in Iraq and in Syria in response to Jordan. Now remember, Jordan is another country that surrounds that area. So Jordan's pissed off and they might get involved. Now, if this doesn't sound like a small Middle Eastern country, which is the state of Israel, rising to take on the world, because world opinion is just as much a thing in this situation versus them, a country actually attacking them. The opinion is just as powerful. So here's the story.
Confirmed that the U.S. has begun retaliatory strikes in the Middle East in response to the deadly attack that killed 3 American troops. The strikes come days after those service members were killed in a drone attack on a U.S. outpost in Jordan, marking the first American deaths since the Israel-Hamas war began.
Wow.
U.S. officials telling NBC News that retaliatory strikes have begun against Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. This is from U.S. government sources. It's not an official announcement by the US government. As I understand it, we did have, though, news that there was something happening in eastern Syria, along the border, near the border with Iraq, a place called Mayadeen, which is part of a strip that we know includes encampments for Iranian-backed militias, and also in that same area, a well-known Iranian base, frankly run by the Iranians. So whether that is connected to what we are hearing now from these US government sources, hard to tell. We will have to wait for more news, because it is both Syria and Iraq that we're being told that this strikes have begun. But of course, Lester, this is what we have been expecting for days now.
Breaking news, U.S.
As reported, like I said, as reported by ABC News and reporter Lester Holt. This is not good. This is not good. Iran has nuclear weapons. Are they going to use them? I don't know. I don't know about any of the other countries. I know Jordan has a pretty decent military. I know that the country of Yemen has more freedom fighters than an actual military. I think their military is pretty good, though. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm burping so much. Probably because I got gas or some shit. But on a serious note, those are a lot of countries rising up to take on Israel. But Israel has to understand what you've done is humanitarily insane. To kill children, unarmed women. It's genocidal, man. It's genocidal, and that's not going to bode well for your country. It's a genocidal fucking thing to kill women and children. It's genocidal. Are you that afraid to put your boots on the ground? Are you that afraid to put boots on the ground, go through every building, and, root out whatever you think or what enemy, you think it is out there? That's what you got to realize. You got to realize that it's all about fear, and it's all about power, and it's all about persecution. That's what it's about. It's never been about anything else but that. It's about power, and putting boots on necks and telling some people that are weaker than you, which is something that a lot of governments do. They know they have a weak country.
Huge
Breaking news,
They know they have a weak country. Then they want to step on their necks. It's just that simple. It's about domination. It's always been about that. Let's go back to World War II. When Japan was the only country that didn't give up. All the other countries had either, they've raised the white flag. Japan was like, we're gonna keep fighting on until this is over with. Until they got 2 of the biggest bombs ever created in the history of man at that time dropped on your island. And I don't give a damn I don't care. Hirohito, who was the emperor of Japan at the time, was like, nah. They dropped 3 or 4 more of them motherfuckers on our island, it will be done. So they had to go head on the deck of an aircraft carrier or a battleship, one of the two, sign that peace treaty and kiss some American Caucasian hiney at the time. In other words, whosoever has the most powerful weapons rules the day. And that's always been the mantra of this country, to have the most deadly, most destructive weapons they could think of for shock and awe. And that's what they call it. I'm ex-military, for those who didn't know. I used to be in the Army. I was in artillery, and I've seen what some of these weapons can do. I've seen the damage of some of these weapons. I've seen accidental training accidents that happen on firing ranges, and you get to see the example of what could happen to an enemy, to your own brothers and sisters in the armed forces when accidents happen. So war is fucked. War ain't good. It's not good for nobody but the oppressor. And also, whenever they whoop your ass, if you notice, the people that whooped you always leave some type of a person to kind of clean it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the greatest things they used to do back in the day after whooping people's ass was to leave a priest, so he could like change the narrative of why they came over there and say it was because of this goodness or whatever, and try to make it make sense. Try to make it make sense why they came and invaded you. We're on the brink of World War III. That's all I know. It can escalate. China, Korea, all of them can get involved if it suits them to get involved. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if the world starts to war, and even America starts sending some type of remnants over there to help out or whatever, it's gonna get real nasty. It's gonna get real nasty. I want to talk about something other than the possibility of us all dying from the mass destruction of the so-called leaders that we have around the world. And I do say so-called. This is the worst presidential race we've had, and the two worst candidates we've ever had. It's all about the lesser of two evils when it comes to us choosing a candidate, which is absolutely bullshit. It's bullshit that we have to sit there and stomach the two guys that we have running, and to actually pass them off as the best candidates or the best two choices for this November. It's a fucking travesty. Well, with that said, we should move on and talk about somebody who's not even in the United States, but got his ass whooped by a Compton hip hop artist, and that is Drake. The diss back and forth, the diss tracks and diss records that these guys went back, Kendrick Lamar and him went back and forth with, has produced some really scary events. And those events have played out in real life just like the rap battle did. The rap battle was metaphorical. They were talking shit, but some people seem to believe that these two guys really want to kill each other. So guess what? It's a lot of lunatics out there that would like to see either one or the other get actually physically harmed because of the thing, because of the little rap disses they had. So let's hear about what's going on at Drake's home in Canada.
Drake's Toronto home has been at the center of 3 police-involved incidents this week, one of which involved the shooting of a security guard outside his mansion's gates. Here's what we know. On Tuesday morning, police responded to a call at Drake's home where they discovered a man, one of Drake's security personnel. Witnesses told Canadian media he had sustained several gunshot wounds, including one to the chest. The guard, whose identity remains undisclosed, was reportedly shot while standing outside the gates in front of Drake's home in a drive-by shooting and was hospitalized with life-threatening injuries. According to police, the suspect fled the scene. On Wednesday at about 2 p.m., Toronto police responded to a call at Drake's home where someone tried to enter the property. Because the person was detained under the Ontario Mental Health Act, which protects people with mental health issues from facing criminal charges, their identity wasn't revealed. It's unclear whether Drake was home at the time. On Thursday, around 3:30 p.m., police responded to yet another trespassing incident at the rapper's home, as confirmed by a Toronto police spokesperson. Before law enforcement arrived, the alleged trespasser, believed to be in his 20s, was involved in an altercation with security guards on the property and subsequently taken to the hospital. Wow. The paramedics on site reported serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police have not yet disclosed any potential charges in connection with the incident. The recent incidents at the rapper's Toronto home coincide with the 37-year-old artist making headlines for engaging in an intense rivalry with Los Angeles rapper Kendrick Lamar that has spanned over several weeks.
You mean to tell me now rap battles, which have ultimately led to some people dying, i.e. Biggie Smalls, now, and Tupac Shakur. Now, while talking about that, I don't believe none of those people were killed by other people that were, either on one side of the rap battle or not. I think they were killed under the guise of the rap beef that had the East Coast and the West Coast at each other's necks at that one particular time when Tupac and Biggie was going at it. Obviously, Tupac thought, there was something going on, and the reason why he got shot was because of East Coast guys, so that's what started it. This beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Now, Drake, come on, man, let's talk about this cat real quick. I'm just say what I want to say about it and leave it alone. I ain't never liked dude. Some of his music did grow on me because, if you get the right production and you say what you're saying in the right way, it could sound kind of dope. So there's been some songs I was like, fuck, I can't help but get his man his props. With that said, because he got so much admiration, a lot of people in this world tend to jump on bandwagons and they be riding along with people calling them the greatest ever and all that because they're kind of hot at the moment, i.e. 50 Cent back in the day. People used to say he was the best rapper ever and alive, and I used to be like, huh. With all the people that have graced the microphone, for people to say that, it's usually because they the popular motherfucker at the moment. And one time people said Lil Wayne was, and Jay. So everybody gets their turn. But when you start actually believing your own bullshit, that's when the problem occurs. And I believe that's what happened with Drake. And so the real guy who's humble and don't even talk about that, he just keeps making music. And of course, if you're gonna be in anything or try to do anything, you're gonna think you're the best. But you don't have to go around telling everybody that or even acting like you're above everybody. Because that's just as telling as if you was going around just yelling, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Your attitude and how you kick it and how you maneuver with people also kind of gives people the idea that you think your shit don't stink or whatever. And that's what people was getting from Drake. Not only that, he's not really a brother like the typical brothers that we know. And it's not even because he's from Canada. I'm sure that plays a part in it. But he has a real hood dad that I'm not sure his background, but I believe he's from America and, met Drake's mom and did the do, and now he's here. You know what I'm saying? And Drake is a really good actor. Let's be honest. That's how he started out in his work. Did he love rap music? Was he listening to it? Did he grow a fond admiration for it? I'm sure that's why he's doing it today. But my thing is, he should have been so humble and in his humility for the genre that he chose to do, as well as the acting, everything. But he's an actor. Let that sink in. Dude is playing a part. He's a rapper, but he's acting the part of a rapper. Kendrick Lamar, on the other hand, is actually a poet, is actually a Pulitzer Prize winner, and is actually someone who loves the art form. I'm not saying Drake don't love the art form. He loves the art form, but he only loves the art form for what it can do for him versus what he can do for the art form. And you can see that in the difference of the rap styles. You can see that difference in the penmanship between him and Kendrick. And for that, I have to rock with everything that Kendrick Lamar has been saying, as well as anybody else who's come out and said things about how Drake moves in the culture. Now, back to the issue at hand, the things that are happening at his home in Toronto. Well, I'm going to tell you why that's happening. I'm going to tell you because mental illness, not only in the U.S., which is very prevalent in the U.S., but mental illness is a real thing. There are people out there who actually believe that they're doing their favorite rapper a service by trying to get on Drake's property to either film, to hurt him, to do all these different things. They're willing to take the chances at the security, against the security company and all these other things in order to get at Drake to make some type of point about who he is. That's how crazy people are. Instead of just, having an opinion on the rap battle, playing the music, saying who won, whatever, they wanted to be weird and actually try to harm the dude because they ain't got nothing else better to do. That's the world we live in. That is the world we live in. So much so that I got a segue to this next story, which kind of leads me and you to understand what kind of world we living in. If there's a world where you can have a rap beef between two artists, one of them don't even live in this damn country. And I don't know if those people were from Canada that went to his house. I don't know if they were local to Toronto. I don't know. But the fact of the matter still remains that somebody psycho tried to get into fighting the security, trying to get into this man's crib or on his property to do God knows what. And that just shows you the psychosis that we're living under. And this story right here will tell you even more about the kind of weird things that are going on, not only in the U.S., but around the world. Check it out.
Y'all thought Nickelodeon was bad. Take a look at this. 35 Disney employees arrested on Child X charges in less than 10 years. At least 35 Disney employees in and around Florida have been arrested and accused of X crimes involving children since 2006. CNN reports as part of a 6-month investigation. So far, 32 of those cases have resulted in convictions. If you're interested in reading this article, you could go Google it, pull it up. Here it go. But I want to bring your attention to this guy right here. His name is Victor Salva. Guys, Victor Salva was arrested, charged, and pled guilty to lewd and lascivious conduct, oral X, with someone under the age of 14, and procuring a child for a home movie, or shall I say, pornography. Victor Salva was sentenced to 3 years in state prison. He served 15 months and he has to register as a lifetime sex offender. He completed his parole in 1992. Anybody remember this movie Powder? This was Victor Salva's first mainstream Hollywood movie. This movie was made for Caravan Pictures, a production company wholly owned by who? Disney. The director of that movie is Victor Salva. Nathan Forrest Winters is the former child actor who suffered the heinous acts at the hands of Victor Salva. Nathan was one of the main characters in the movie Clown House that was a 1989 American slasher film that was written and directed by Victor Salva. Nathan also starred in another one of Salva's movies called Something in the Basement.
My first memory of when the abuse started and eventually progressed over the next 5 years.
Crazy world we live in.
It was full blown.
When they found out, Nathan's family went to the police and Salva was convicted and jailed. But that hasn't affected his Hollywood career. Powder, one of the scripts he wrote in prison, was distributed by Disney's Buena Vista Pictures.
Salva was also a director on Jeepers Creepers, Jeepers Creepers 2 and 3. He was also a director on Dark House and Rosewood Lane, Peaceful Warrior, and Rites of Passage. Even the LA Times covered it. Disney's movies director, a convicted child molester. Hollywood, he says, I paid for my mistakes dearly, but victim of incident several years ago urges boycott of Powder.
Wow.
I remember Bella Thorne, former Disney child actor. Well, Bella Thorne stated from the ages of 6 to 14, she was being molested.
I'm Bella Thorne from Michigan.
What the hell?
Getting molested.
Bella Thorne too?
From your 6 to your 14 seems like way harder circumstances. You're being physically abused all the time. Seems like a much more.
Bella Thorne. Other young Hollywood actors, they're all prey. They're all prey to these people. They're not even looked at as human beings. They're looked at as things to be controlled and or chess pieces to be moved around. That's how Epstein was doing these kids, taking them to that island. Imagine flying in a private plane to an island and then having to rub down a bunch of old fucking white dudes. It's a crazy fucking world we live in. Ask yourself, why is Disney always surrounded with a bunch of BS? What the fuck is going on at Disney? Do I hate Disney? No, but there's so many damn things that happen and that are said about the Disney Corporation. And they done bought ABC and everything. Money is a real evil thing on this planet. It's inherently evil in some cases. It's just an inanimate object, and mostly the money, the amounts that's printed on them are not even worth anything. It's just paper. It's just a means of commerce. But people use it. They use it to dominate people. You can see it in some of the videos of people out there doing TikToks and all that. There's some guys who will make people do all kind of things. There's TikTokers out there that'll walk up to strangers and just put their hand out and want to shake their hand, and a person will look at them like, I'm not going to shake your hand. I don't know you. Or whatever. And next thing you know, they shake another person's hand and they give them a whole stack of money, saying that the person that didn't shake my hand should have been nicer to me. Or maybe I would have gave them money. And that person running up to the person after, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know what you was doing. That's the kind of stuff. That's how powerful money is. That's how crazy people are for money, because things are so tough. So what do you think a millionaire is going to do if they know people are stressing, they need money? They're going to throw things out there like, yeah, come on, let me rub your butt. Let me touch on your balls. Let me do this, that, and the third on you for this little check. And once they have you taking that money, it's just like the devil, man. If the devil was a person, which these people pretty much are, and they're being ruled by their inhibitions and all the things that are nasty about them in the dark places. And guess who preys on that? The dark one preys on that. And he tells you to go ahead. You got enough money, ain't nobody gonna know. All you gotta do is pay this motherfucker. You can lick on his balls, touch on the titty, whatever. Do some nasty shit. Because they nasty. And they doing dark things. And you just gotta stay above the light, man, and stay out of these people's way. They're going to offer you the world in order to do things to you. The world. Stay on your guns. Stay spiritually prayed up. I don't want this to sound like one of these podcasts and we all talk about God. No, I'm talking about this life and being morally good, and don't be morally bankrupt or corrupted just because you're having tough times. I got tough times all the time. So I keep grinding. I keep punching the BS in the face until one day ain't going to be no BS to punch no more. You just be doing what you do. Corner Store Podcast is something I truly, truly love because I get to express myself. I get to say what I want. I get to talk about what's going on in the world today. And I also get to give my opinion on it. It's been episode 107. I love you guys. Believe it or not, all the people that watch my podcast, and I ain't get nobody on the live today, and it's all good because they're going to watch later and they will get what I'm talking about. Do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and hit the notifications. It's all love. It's your boy OMD. Corner Store Pod, baby. And I will see y'all next time. I might have Honey Queen Lemonade, the owner of the Honey Queen Lemonade Company, in the studio coming up this Sunday. So please hit that notification button, subscribe. It's your boy OMD. I'll holler at y'all.